What's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy B from the Heavy Hitters Entertainment YouTube channel, man. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, support. Y'all know the routine. There shouldn't be nothing new. Sorry that I'm just dropping this late. Supposed to drop it yesterday. This has been busy. Sorry, but today I'm dropping this episode, so stay tuned on it. So today I'm gonna be talking about one of my favorite rappers of all time. And people still, his music is still talked about to this day. No matter what you play it on the radio, don't matter. His music still lives forever. I'm gonna be talking about my man's Tupac. So I'm gonna tell y'all why Tupac is one of the greatest of all time. Let's get the fact that man, his birthday just passed. He was supposed to be 49. So rest in peace to him. But it's just the fact that he was one of those rappers that was just different. Like he would talk about police brutality, just social issues, talking about how the government was corrupted. He was way ahead of his time, and he was like only 24, 25 when he passed away. So he was already knowing, he was ahead of his time. He was in his 40s and 50s talking about just issues that need to be talked about. He was talking about how black communities need to rise up together, and let's not forget, like his mom was like one of the Black Panthers. So for him, he knew, like, what was going on and how it was hard for him growing up in the streets. He had to do what he had to do in order for him to make money. Had to sell drugs, had to provide for his family. And he talking about how, whites and blacks were not equal as one. Now I'm gonna be talking about it was one of his songs that still a classic to this day. Brenda's Got a Baby, and that's one. And then that's really what got him on. Like the song was mostly about, and this is real life. It was mostly how he narrated about equal parts. He was talking about how it's a story about a 12-year-old girl who was molested by her family, got pregnant, and turned out strung out in the streets. And this is probably one of the most controversial, one of the most darkest, more powerful songs ever, because he really was telling how, like, that's how black people have to go through in order for them to survive, or how to make money, or how you have to go to the streets to either sell drugs, or you had to go through prostitution. And and that was just kind of like damn. So I'll give you one of his verses. uh which one? It was like, Brenda wants to run away. Mama said, you making me lose pay. The social worker here every day. Now Brenda's got to make it on her own. Can't go to her family. They won't let her stay. No money, no babysitter. She couldn't keep a job. She had to sell crack, but ends up getting robbed. But now what's next is there ain't nothing left to sell. So CC Sex, as the way of leaving hell, is paying the rent so she can complain. Prostitution, fail, slang, and Brenda's her name, and she got a baby. Like, and no, what I just read to y'all, pretty much, she had the struggle. She had the, she couldn't get it. She couldn't get no job. Back then, it was hard to even get a job, and the job then was the job paying was bad. She had to sell. She had to sell crack. She had to sell drugs, or she had to do prostitution in order for her to help her survive. And that was one of the facts about, growing up being black. Now, one of his other songs that I like, you gotta keep your head up. That verse, he was talking about some of the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. I said the darker the flesh and the deeper the roots. I gave my holler to my sisters on welfare, 2 cares, and don't nobody else care. Like, everybody, like, you see like a black mother out here that's on welfare, struggling to take care of her kids. Some of them didn't have a father, and some of them didn't have, they baby daddy or they husbands around, because they was either leaving, or they was messing with somebody else. That's also talking about just the struggle on how black community is. And I like one of his songs, "Dear Mama," pretty much talking about how his mama took care of him and his sister growing up, just showing gratitude on how, like, man, thank you for everything that you done for me. And I also, that's one of my favorite songs. Like, even though his dad was never around, but his mama was always there. Was always taking care of him, always supportive, no matter what. One of his songs I like from his last album before he got killed, before he passed away, I like White Man's World. Pretty much talking about how, uh this is not a black man's world. This is not our country. This is not our land. It's ruled by white people. And he telling the truth on that. Pretty much saying, like, we not even supposed to be here. This not even our land because they not even treating us right. We can't vote. We can't we can't have no freedom of speech because every time when we say something, we get crucified for it. And the white people, they ruling us. So I like one of those songs right there. I like Changes. Change is one of the best ones to me because he pretty much talking about how about being in the hood, how police is is it's just crazy to me how, like, the stuff that Tupac is talking about now back in the 90s is still going on to this day with the George Floyd situation, with the Trayvon Martin, the Sandra Bland's. It's like the stuff that he was talking about back then. He was talking about Trump. He pretty much, one of his lyrics, he was talking about how Trump could run president. That's crazy how Trump is our president now. So that's kind of ironic to me. That's like stuff happens, but it's just that the stuff that he was talking about back then and his word was just more powerful. Tupac, he wasn't no lyricist. He was more like a poem writer. He was more like a poem writer. He knows what to say and how to say it the right way. He is the most impact rappers of all time. Like the stuff that he's saying now, all in his lyrics that I'm looking at and I hear it every time, it still goes on to this day. And people just be talking. Like, I hate when people be talking about, oh, Tupac is this. Oh, no, talking about, rest in peace, XXX. He was our next Tupac, or somebody who passed away. One of these young rappers. Oh man, he was the next Tupac generation, or NBA YoungBoy. Oh, he the next Tupac in this generation. I'm like, stop it. The stuff that they talking about now is not gonna compare to what Pac was talking about back then. Pac was talking about something different and something real. These rappers nowadays, like, don't get me wrong, I like these new rappers. I listen to their lyrics and everything, but they just talking about guns, drugs, and some other stuff. And you can't compare that to what Pac was doing back then. Pac was just a different breed. These new rappers, you can't compare them. Some of them talking about F Love and all the other stuff. Nah, man, you can't do that. You can't talk about it. There's no comparison when it comes to Pac. Pac was more of an impact rapper than anything. Impact wise, talking about social justice. It's just crazy. Like, y'all gotta literally listen to Tupac lyrics. Y'all be hearing the beat and everything. No, you gotta actually listen to Tupac, and that's why he's one of my favorite rappers of all time, in my opinion, because I'm glad that, when I was little, my pops, he kept playing Tupac around me, and I'm like, damn, who's that, and I started listening to Pac when I got a little bit older, and I'm like, man, this man, he was like a pastor, a preacher out there, just speaking about what's really going on in the real world. You got to tune in on that, man. Pac, in my opinion, is one of the greatest of all time. He my favorite rapper. Like, I don't care. People be like, oh man, you too young to be listening. I'm like, bro, I don't, I don't care. Like, if he's the GOAT, he's the GOAT. You can't argue the fact that he changed a lot of people's lives, and his music still lives to this day. People could play Tupac right now to this day. So, that's my opinion. That's why he the greatest. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, tune in on the channel. Y'all know the routine. I'm your boy B, and I'm out.